Hello, guys. Um, Today we're going to talk about the rest of stems and leaves. Sounds fun. Okay, so water transport. Yesterday we talked about how water is transported in the xylem. So there's three ways that water can move up a plant. The first one is root pressure, and this is the pressure in the roots, which forces the water up through a vascular cylinder. Okay. Capillary action is once you're inside like the stem, molecules are attracted to one another. They have strong hydrogen bonds with one another and to the walls of the vascular tissue. So they basically like kind of stick real close together and kind of build and go upward from there. Transpiration is when water is lost from the leaves. So transpiration also kind of pulls the water upward through the plant so it can release water from the leaves. All right, nutrient transport occurs in the phloem. Phloem can move nutrients in either direction, up or down. Nutrients are pushed through the phloem. So when they're talking about nutrients, we're talking about sugars that are made from photosynthesis, so like glucose. So sugars move from the source to the sink. So source is where the sugar is produced, the leaves usually, or the leaves. And then sink is where the sugar is used or stored. So kind of depends on like what's happening in the plant and if they need more like nutrients in the roots versus nutrients in a flower. So let's look at the picture. All right, so the source is the leaves. So that's where the sugars are produced from photosynthesis. And then it can either move up to the flower, which is a sink. So that's where they need to use the nutrients, or down in the roots as well. Okay, ground tissue is the tissue that lays in between like the epidermis, the outer layer, and the inner layer, which has the vascular tissue. Monocots and dicots they're just two different types of plants, and they have different stem structures. So monocots have scattered vascular bundles. This is a vascular bundle, like the xylem and phloem are like in a group, and they're scattered around. You might remember from our biodiversity lab that we looked at those things under the microscope. Dicots have vascular bundles arranged in cylinders, like a circular path here. Okay, growth of stems. The primary growth is growth that occurs at the end of plants. So it's basically, what makes them taller. Secondary growth is the growth by which stems increase in width. Wood is a buildup of xylem found in you have a buildup of xylem that is found in woody stems. Older xylem is found towards the center. It no longer conducts water. Heartwood is darker xylem. Right here you can see the picture. Near the center, and sapwood is the lighter xylem, which still conducts water. Bark is a thick protective layer on woody stems, so it contains waterproof substances to prevent water loss. If you remove the bark, obviously your tree is going to dehydrate. Leaves. So the function of leaves is to perform photosynthesis. It's a major photosynthetic system. Broad, flat surfaces increase absorption of sunlight, and it allows gas exchange with the environment, and they contain adjustable pores to prevent water loss. The leaves are made of kind of two parts, the blade, which is the leaf, and then the petiole is like the thin stalk here. So draw a picture of that and just make sure you label the petiole and the blade. So back to leaf function, photosynthesis. So making sugars from carbohydrate or from carbon dioxide. Transpiration is the loss of water through the leaves, and it's also the main function is to perform gas exchange. So it opens stomata to allow gas to enter. So remember, in photosynthesis, you need the sun, obviously, and you need water, and you need carbon dioxide. So carbon dioxide has to be able to get in through the stomata. This is a picture of the stomata, and it's surrounded by guard cells. Okay, so let's label the leaf structure. So you have the palisades layer here, and that's where photosynthesis is going to occur. You have the spongy layer below, and that's where you have gas exchange. So this is like a leaf. This is the top part, and this is the bottom part of a leaf, if you imagine that. So you have an upper epidermis and a lower epidermis. You have the cuticle, which is a waxy coating, the stomate, guard cells, xylem, and phloem. So xylem, remember, transports water. Phloem transports food or sugars. And those make up the vascular bundle or the vein. So it's like the circulatory system. Okay, so the cuticle is the waxy coating that reduces water loss. You know, if you see a plant and you're like, oh, I wonder if that is real or fake, you would go and you touch it to see if it feels waxy. So you would be touching the cuticle. Epidermis is the skin protecting leaf tissue. It's the skin that protects the leaf tissue. The palisades layer is where there's lots of chloroplasts, and so that's where photosynthesis happens. And then the spongy layer is where you have gas exchange. Carbon dioxide comes in for sugar production, and oxygen goes out. Okay, so transpiration is also water loss in your leaf. So this is just showing the same thing. Stomate is the opening surrounded by guard cells, which tell it to open or close. Carbon dioxide goes in. Oxygen produced as waste comes out. Hang on. Okay, so we were saying oxygen goes out, and transpiration water also goes out. Xylem again, and then the phloem is underneath. Okay, so stomates and guard cells. The function of the stomates is to let carbon dioxide in and let oxygen out. And it also lets water out. Guard cells are going to open and close the stomates based on what needs to happen to maintain homeostasis. So if your plant is losing too much water, the guard cells will close. And then they'll open up to let carbon dioxide in. But so they will close in a time where they prevent water loss or something like that. Okay, so this is a closer look at the leaf. This is just like a full, more three-dimensional cross-section. So you'll see guard cells on top with the stoma, the waxy cuticle, the upper epidermis, the palisade layer where you have photosynthesis, that's why it's green in color. You have your spongy layer, which allows for gas circulation, and then your guard cells and carbon, and your stoma right here. Okay. And then we are going to start photosynthesis tomorrow. No homework tonight.